If you ask me which is the most peculiar land on Earth, I will immediately talk about India. Here, real men will hold hands while walking down the street. Everyone eats with their hands and people must adhere to countless bizarre prohibitions. Join me on a journey to India. Today, I will show you the laws and strange things that even in the imagination of humanity have never been thought of before. Number 15. Ban on alcohol advertising. This is perhaps one of the longest-standing prohibitions on this list. In India, advertising alcoholic beverages has been illegal since the late 1990s. In fact, many states across the country, such as Gujarat, Nagaland, Manipur, and Mizoram, have gone a step further and strictly prohibit the consumption of alcohol altogether. However, alcohol companies have found alternative solutions to convey their brand to consumers. One such example is surrogate advertising, where liquor companies promote their brands by advertising various brand extensions like mineral water, soda, CDs, airlines, and even a cricket team. It is said that India is a significant market for whiskey in the world, and liquor companies cleverly circumvent the ban by finding loopholes in the law to advertise their brands. In fact, among the list today, this is the most practical prohibition, but it is not effective when Indian men can be considered true alcohol enthusiasts. Number 14. Ban on dancing in bars. I don't know if they have perception issues or not, but bars are clearly created for revelry and partying, yet people in India are banned from dancing there. Initially, this ban applied to female dancers in bars. If you are a woman and are caught dancing in a dance bar in India, you could be fined a minimum of $10,000 and could ultimately face 3 years in prison. It is believed that these bars are seen as establishments with deviant interests. Therefore, to curb it, the government passed a law revoking the licenses of all dance bars. As days go by, the measures of Indian authorities become more stringent, and Indian police even arrest all girls dancing in bars, whether they are dancers or just guests out to have fun. One truly insane and conflicting aspect of this ban is that India considers the profession of prostitution legal, so why ban female dancers in bars who are often much more graceful than sex workers? Number 13. Ban on parties with foreigners, dancing, lingerie, and now parties. This list couldn't get any sadder than this. The Karnataka state government in India recently banned party organizers from inviting foreigners to events unless approved by the government. The reason for this is the increasing number of crimes against foreign citizens in India. This has become a serious concern, and thus the government decided to prohibit their participation in social gatherings without prior permission. Even if you can invite Rihanna, Bieber, or One Direction to your party, you will have to provide details of all the foreign guests to the police beforehand, and allow the authorities to film them the entire time they are at your event. It sounds strange, and there have been many proposals to lift this ban, but the government seems to enjoy killing the joy. Number 12. Ban on foie gras. Foie gras is one of the most delicious and expensive dishes in the world, but for the people of India, it is abhorrent. They have removed this delicacy from their menus, and officially become the first country in the world to ban the import of foie gras. This ban was declared after an animal rights group from London protested that the methods used to produce this delicacy from goose liver are cruel. They also argued that they wanted the ban because large restaurants were promoting the use of foie gras as a peculiar thing throughout the country, a preference that could be a crime. In reality, some countries like Israel, Germany, the UK, and the state of California have banned the production of foie gras, but India is the first country to cease its import. Number 11. Taboo on menstruation. While all developed countries in the world educate children about gender openly from an early age, in the second most populous country in the world, this issue is often overlooked. The menstrual cycle of women is an absolute taboo, a shameful matter in daily life in India. It has been a frightening silence in Indian society for hundreds of years. A recent study by the United Nations Children's Fund, or UNICEF, revealed that 71% of adolescent girls in India are still unaware of menstruation until they experience it for the first time, and many girls drop out of school because of it. Additionally, another report by the non-governmental organization DASRA, published in 2019, pointed out that 23 million girls drop out of school annually due to the lack of proper menstrual hygiene tools and facilities, including sanitary pads and information about menstruation. Public health experts and non-governmental organizations working in this field also highlight the lack of basic services, such as access to sanitation and clean water, as well as societal prejudices, harassment, and taboos. In addition to the mental and psychological stress, A significant challenge in the menstrual hygiene issue is that many people lack access to essential products. For many, menstruation and how to deal with it are still obscured by cultural and social taboos and restrictions, leading to adolescent girls being unaware of scientific facts and health hygiene practices, sometimes causing health issues. This culture of silence creates a sense of shame about menstruation within families and communities. Number 10. Men holding hands. If one day you happen to see two men holding hands, you might think they're a gay couple. But if you ever set foot in India, this is entirely normal. Anywhere in India we can witness moments of hand-holding between men. Asking some men about why they hold hands in public, they seem to be puzzled by the question. It's understandable because from birth, Indian men have had this habit. In Indian culture, holding hands signifies intimate friendship between brothers or friends. This closeness is not limited to men. Women do the same. Indian women walking together might hold hands or interlace their fingers, simply expressing camaraderie. In certain situations like religious ceremonies, festivals, or significant events, holding hands also signifies unity and community spirit. In general, the act of men holding hands in India represents friendly affection rather than romantic love. So don't be surprised to see many same-gender couples in India. It's the opposite of what you might think. I'll explain this more clearly to you shortly. Number 9. Prohibition of beef. India is one of the countries with the highest population of cows in the world, but it's quite unbelievable that beef is entirely banned here. In 2015, the government of the state of Maharashtra, India's second-largest state, imposed a ban on the sale and possession of beef, with penalties ranging up to 10,000 rupees and a maximum of 5 years in prison for those convicted. This ban sparked widespread opposition on social media, especially from meat enthusiasts and suppliers across the state. But despite their efforts, they failed to dissuade the government from enacting the law. The ban was indeed implemented to align with religious sentiments across the country. It's important to know that cows are considered sacred animals in India, especially within the Hindu community. Followers of Jainism worship cows, and those following Hinduism regard the cow as a sacred being. They do not consume beef. The beauty of a young girl's eyes is even likened to the eyes of a female cow. From ancient times, the people in this region have considered the cow as their ancestor and consider the cow as a sacred animal, but not the buffalo. While many countries view beef as a primary food source, in India it is the opposite, and no one dares to eat it. Consuming beef is considered sacrilegious. Only waste products, such as cow urine and dung, are used for medicinal purposes, from treating skin diseases to cancer. Other factors contributing to the sanctity of cows include references in the Vedas, where killing cows is prohibited. When Muslims and Mongols invaded, the symbol of protecting cows was used to emphasize unity between indigenous religions. Number 8. Ban on mannequins wearing bikinis. Believe it or not, this is indeed a ban currently being enforced in India. The government has voted to prohibit the display of mannequins wearing bikinis in shop windows, in a move they believe will reduce cases of sexual harassment and recent incidents of attacks based on lustful motives across the country. Officials argue that mannequins wearing revealing lingerie and seductive stockings are shameful for girls and have polluted the minds of men throughout the city, going against societal morals. This ban was passed in light of the Indecent Representation of Women Prohibition Act, 1986, which relates to portraying the figure of a woman or any of her body parts in an indecent, corrupt, or injurious manner to public morality. This ban immediately faced strong opposition from most of the Indian population. Ironically, these mannequins are not as provocative as the sensual sculptures and carvings in famous temples like Khajuraho, where scenes of group sexual activities are displayed. Female customers had varying opinions. Some welcomed the ban, believing it would reduce sexual attacks on women, while others opposed the ban, considering it foolish and backward. If you visit India, you may need to enter a store to know it sells lingerie, because there won't be any signs or advertisements outside indicating that they sell underwear. Number 7. Consequences of revealing attire. One of the survival tactics in India that you must remember when you come here is your clothing. You might not be aware that the rate of women and children facing harassment in India is the highest in the world. This is a consequence of prevalent misconceptions in the culture of many Indian men. Therefore, it's better not to dress too revealingly while traveling in India if you want to avoid troublesome situations or even attacks. Moreover, if you plan to visit temples, both men and women must dress modestly and conservatively. India is a country with many ancient and sacred temples. Anyone visiting these places wants to explore them, but to enter, dressing modestly is an absolute requirement. In fact, in some places, women are required to wear Muslim clothing to pass through the gate. Additionally, everyone, regardless of gender, must remove their shoes when entering the inner sanctum. It's not an official government ban, but it's an unwritten rule in Indian society. Follow it to ensure your safety, especially if you're a woman. Number 6. Red dot on the forehead. Many of us may have wondered why, in movies or any images of Indian people, we always see a red dot on the forehead of women. Is it for beautification, or does it hold some ritualistic significance? In reality, this red dot has significant meaning for women in this country. Indians believe that placing a dot between the eyebrows signifies joy and good luck. Therefore, they call these dots bindi, meaning small dot or drop of water in Hindi. Indian women apply a red dot or gemstone here to become wiser, more enlightened, and to ward off demons. Some also believe that the red dot of the bindi is like the third eye of Indian women. The red color of the bindi symbolizes honor, love, and prosperity. In the southern part of India, married women traditionally wear the bindi to show that they are settled in married life. The size of the dot between the two eyes also signifies the status of Indian women. In India, only married women are allowed to wear the bindi. On the wedding day, the groom personally applies the bindi on the bride's forehead to indicate that the woman has been married. According to tradition, only married women are allowed to wear this lucky dot. If a married woman fails to wear this mark after marriage, she may face criticism from her parents, uncles, aunts, and close relatives, who may suspect whether her husband is still alive. Of course, unmarried women and widows are not allowed to wear the lucky dot. However, with the development and progress of society today, the scope of women wearing the lucky dot has also expanded. Some young girls and unmarried women also wear the bindi. Furthermore, people now demand that the shape and color of the lucky dot must match each face, hairstyle, and dress. Number 5. Prohibited hand and feet gestures. There is an extensive list of social norms in India, and it's crucial to learn them if you plan to visit. A single wrong gesture might cost you dearly. Let's start with the left hand. In the cultural beliefs of the Indian people, the left hand is considered unclean and often used for activities like removing shoes or cleaning feet. Therefore, a strict prohibition in India is to never use the left hand when giving or receiving something from a local. This is deemed impolite and uncivilized. If invited to someone's home in India, it's crucial to remember to remove your shoes outside the door before entering. Always keep your feet clean, and avoid using them to step on any objects inside the house. If you accidentally violate this rule, touch the object with your hand, and then bring your hand close to your eyes to signify an apology. Another social etiquette you should know when in India is to avoid pointing at people or anything with your fingers. Pointing is considered rude and impolite and will immediately draw attention if you violate this norm. Number 4. Prohibition of LGBT. If you belong to the LGBT community, be prepared for the possibility of being attacked or having food thrown at you when you set foot in this country. Even entering here might be impossible, as the government is strict regarding transgender individuals' rights. Related to same-sex relationships, there has been a hot topic worldwide, and many countries like France, Brazil, Denmark, Ireland, and recently the United States have progressed and shown their support by legalizing it. However, India still relies on its cultural standards and refuses to recognize same-sex relations. According to the government, homosexuality is considered a disorder and needs to be prevented. In fact, India elevated this ban in 2009, but the Supreme Court recently reinstated it in 2013, dealing a harsh blow to the basic rights of thousands of LGBT individuals nationwide. Strong protests were witnessed across the country after the ban was reintroduced. Number 3. Eating with hands. I'll show you a video clip of an Indian meal that may seem unhygienic, as they use their hands to mix everything and scoop it into their mouths. Don't they know how to use chopsticks, spoons, or other utensils? Why do they eat in such a messy way? In reality, the practice of eating with hands in India is related to Ayurveda, a historical system of medicine originating in ancient India. According to Ayurveda, eating with hands is beneficial for health because your body will perceive the temperature of the food when you use your hands to scoop it. You can feel whether it's too hot, too cold, or at the right temperature to put into your mouth. The brain also sends signals to the stomach to prepare for digestion. The nerve endings at the fingertips help convey information to the brain that you are about to eat, prompting the brain to send signals to the stomach to release digestive fluids and enzymes, aiding in effective digestion. According to Ayurveda, eating with hands not only fills the stomach but also nurtures the spirit of everyone. When you touch the food directly with your hands, you create a physical and spiritual connection with the dish. Additionally, Indian folklore believes that the 5 fingers represent the 5 elements forming the universe: space, air, fire, water, and earth. Indians believe that if these 5 elements are combined when you eat, it will make the food tastier and aid in better digestion. While eating, Indians typically use only their right hand to scoop food and often sit cross-legged on the ground with a straight back. Before sitting, a cloth is usually spread to avoid direct contact with the ground. Indians touch the food only with their fingertips, avoiding the use of the entire palm. Despite the reasons Indians provide, eating with hands can be unhygienic, and this traditional practice should be reconsidered to ensure the health of the community. Number 2. Public display of affection prohibition. If you and your partner are traveling in India, you should try to restrain yourselves from kissing or showing affection in public until you get back to your hotel, because a kiss on the street can lead to both of you being arrested. It may sound like a joke, but this is a serious matter. In the world's second most populous country, expressing love publicly is illegal. To be honest, any form of public display of affection is considered a crime. Section 294 of the Indian Penal Code strictly prohibits and imposes penalties for obscenity in public places. While crimes against women, such as rape and domestic violence, still require stricter laws, expressing love openly is a taboo in a culturally rich country like India. In fact, in 2014, this prohibition led to a nationwide nonviolent protest called the Kiss of Love campaign, during which thousands of couples publicly kissed in defiance. This protest gained attention worldwide, but it couldn't change the authorities' decision. Number 1. Bizarre wedding rituals. When discussing peculiar things in India, one cannot overlook the unique wedding rituals. You might find it hard to believe what people in India do on their wedding day. In India, people can marry a tree or even a pot. This stems from the ancient culture of the Indian people. If a woman's astrological chart shows the presence of the planet Mars, she is considered Manglik. Hindus believe that a Manglik woman brings bad luck to her husband. Therefore, they might marry her to a tree, a dog, or a pot to ward off bad luck. In ceremonies involving the groom, he may be privileged to have his mother-in-law wash his feet in the Gujarati community. When the groom enters the bride's home, the bride's mother performs a foot-washing ritual using madhupaka, a mixture of milk and honey. This is a traditional way of welcoming esteemed guests into an ancient Indian home. In some other regions, the groom might be subjected to being pelted with tomatoes, flowers, or other peculiar items. These wedding rituals are incredibly diverse, and researchers have not been able to catalog them all. So we've embarked on a fascinating journey full of unique insights and reflections about India. From strict marriage regulations to rules about parties and clothing, the country faces challenges and controversies surrounding personal freedom and human rights. But above all, India is not the only country with harsh and strange prohibition laws. We invite you to follow us and continue to Colombia, a place that will truly surprise you. There is a place in America hiding many peculiar things where couples need to be cautious in front of the mother's witness, or, even crazier, celebrate 100 New Year's festivities in just a short year. Hard to believe, isn't it? I know you can't imagine why such bizarre things happen, but don't worry. Everything will be clarified in a few minutes, because this is a video about 15 prohibitions and strange things that only exist in Colombia. Number 14. Wedding night must be witnessed by the bride's mother. Imagine you're about to do something with your wife and her mother suddenly shows up and stays there all night to watch you. It is probably the most embarrassing and uncomfortable feeling for anyone, but in Colombia, this is a very normal thing, and any young person getting married will have to go through something like this. In traditional Colombian custom, the wedding night must be performed in the presence of the bride's mother. According to Colombian beliefs, the supervision of the mother is very helpful when young couples are inexperienced in marriage. The mother will sit and observe the newlyweds on their wedding night, providing necessary instructions if their actions seem clumsy. In this way, the relationship between the couple will be strengthened by harmony and love. According to Colombians, this helps the marital bond become stronger and last longer. Oh, it seems its purpose is to be good for the young couple, but it seems to bring more embarrassment and trouble than benefit. Number 13. Ban on iPhones. Colombia is the only country to ban Apple's iPhone and iPad products, preventing the company, its subsidiaries and partners from importing, marketing, and even advertising certain connected iPhone and iPad models. This ban will cause the iPhone 12 and 13 models, as well as the new 5G-enabled iPad, to be suspended from sale in Colombia. The judge also instructed local customs authorities to stop importing similar items, and Apple was ordered to contact online and offline businesses, as well as social media platforms, to stop selling and advertising the affected iPhone and iPad models in the market. Additionally, the Colombian court issued an anti-suit injunction. According to the terms, this prevents Apple from using a court in another country to force Ericsson to relax its import and sales ban in Colombia. The reason Colombia banned these products is because Apple's 5G-connected products are facing a lawsuit with a Swedish company, Ericsson. The dispute concerns licensing payments for certain 5G standard essential patents. Apple admitted that the patents were genuine but argued that Ericsson was charging too much for them. Number 12. Junk food law. Snacking is a hobby for many people, but if you are one of them, it's best not to go to Colombia. This Latin American country was one of the first in the world to impose a health tax targeting processed foods, otherwise known as the junk food law. After years of campaigning, the junk food law came into effect this month, and the tax will be introduced gradually. Additional taxes on unhealthy foods will start at 10%, then increase to 15% next year and reach 20% in 2025. The tax targets ultra-processed products defined as industrially produced, ready-to-eat foods, as well as those high in salt and saturated fat, such as chocolate or crisps. Colombian diets are high in sodium, which is linked to an increase in cardiovascular diseases, such as stroke and heart failure, causing nearly a quarter of deaths annually. The average Colombian consumes 12 grams of salt per day, the highest rate in Latin America and among the highest in the world. Nearly 1/3 of adults in this country have high blood pressure. Other non-communicable diseases are linked to diet and obesity, such as diabetes, with more than 1/3 of deaths from diabetes occurring under the age of 70. Increasing taxes on these products is a way for people to reduce consumption and improve public health. Number 11. River of Seven Colors. Coming to Colombia, one place you cannot miss is the country's famous seven-colored river, the Cano Cristales. Located in Meta Province, Colombia, this river attracts thousands of visitors every year because of its magical colors that seem to contain the entire galaxy within them. Thanks to its vibrant colors, Cano Cristales is also called the River of Seven Rainbow Colors by indigenous people. The name Cano Cristales means crystal channel. Under the sunlight, each section of the river exhibits its own color, making visitors think of a cut of glass, refracting sunlight into their eyes. Previously, scientists believed that Cano Cristales' colorful hues were formed by algae and moss from hundreds of millions of years ago that still adhered to the river, creating this unique beauty. Recently, scientists have offered another explanation. The colors are due to an aquatic species with the scientific name, which changes color depending on sunlight and water temperature. With the right temperature and climate, Cano Cristales is at its most brilliant between June and December every year. This river is isolated from the outside world and is a peaceful place for tourists to immerse themselves in nature. Many regulations set by the Colombian government help this rainbow river retain its original captivating beauty, such as welcoming a maximum of 200 visitors per day, limiting tour groups to no more than 7 people, and clearly designating river sections for sightseeing and relaxation. For stylish girls, this place is not suitable for swimming because the Colombian government completely prohibits tourists from diving into the river while using sunscreen or body lotion. To protect the river, Colombia closes the tourist area from January to May so that nature can regenerate itself and become more beautiful. If you have the opportunity to go to Colombia during the change of season, don't miss the chance to visit Cano Cristales. It will surely be the most unforgettable experience of your life. Mysterious Guatavita Lake. Continuing our journey to discover the natural beauty of Colombia, let's go to another extremely famous place, Guatavita Lake. This freshwater lake is located about 60 kilometers north of Bogotá, the country's capital, and has a very special history and legend related to the legendary Golden City, El Dorado. Guatavita Lake is closely tied to the legend of El Dorado, a tale about a mystical land rich in gold in South America. According to legend, the lord or king of a nearby tribe would offer gold to the gods by releasing gold and precious stones into the lake. Gold offerings were performed by the indigenous Muisca people. They believed that offering gold would please the lake spirit and protect the tribe from disaster. The area around Lake Guatavita contains archaeological remains, including museums and other buildings. These archaeological objects and relics showcase the wealth and developed culture of this tribe. Lake Guatavita is protected and managed as a National Cultural Heritage Site of Colombia. Tourists can enjoy visiting this area, but gold offerings have been banned to protect the environment and historical sites. However, the legend of the Golden City still makes many people risk diving into the waters of Lake Guatavita with the dream of changing their lives. Unfortunately, these explorations have not yielded positive results. Number 9. Forbidden to visit indigenous villages. Colombia is a racially diverse country with many ancient tribes that prefer to live separately from the modern world. Tired of the curiosity of outsiders, indigenous people in many Colombian villages have decided to ban tourists from entering. Now tourists wanting to visit Colombian villages may be greeted by guards armed with sticks, ready to stop any curious individuals. With the rise of ecotourism in Colombia, alongside Peru and Brazil, this part of the Amazon has seen floods of tourists coming to experience some of the most diverse flora and fauna on the planet. Tens of thousands of backpackers are attracted to ecotourism and the opportunity to witness firsthand the traditional lives of indigenous people. Guests come here to swing with monkeys, swim with the famous pink dolphins, fish for piranhas, hike through tropical forests, and soak up the sunset on the majestic Amazon River. However, the people here feel bothered. They don't need money from tourists and do not want to be pointed at, photographed, or have any contact. That's why they have decided to chase away all curious outsiders. Colombia is famous for producing some of the most beautiful women in the world. According to a large-scale poll of 45,000 men and more than 66,000 women on the website Mistral, Colombia ranked 4th in the list of the top 10 countries with the sexiest women. In 2013, they even surpassed Brazil to hold the highest position on this list. 3 typical Colombian representatives of beauty are singer Shakira, actress and model Sofia Vergara, and beauty queen Paulina Vega. They exemplify the impressive beauty of Colombian women: plump and vibrant bodies, attractive faces with deep eyes and full lips, shiny brown skin, and long, straight legs with soft curves. The special thing is that women in this country have the ability to maintain a toned and sexy figure for a long time. Even at the age of 40 or 50, many Colombian women still have beautiful, vibrant bodies. According to anthropological documents, Colombian women inherit excellent bone structure, and their measurements are also very balanced. Colombians acknowledge that the distribution of fat and muscle in their upper body, legs, and buttocks is ideal, helping their midsection stay neat while their hips and buttocks expand, making their body curves extremely feminine. Blessed with beautiful bones, Colombian women tend to prefer moderately toned bodies rather than overly muscular physiques. Colombian beauty standards favor a lean body with an ideal fat ratio instead of an overly athletic body with a low fat ratio. Therefore, if they exercise, they usually do not push too hard. Many Colombian beauties possess naturally attractive bodies without much exercise. The Darien Gap Forest, located on the border of Panama and Colombia, is the route chosen by many migrants seeking to reach the United States. This unforgiving environment has claimed the lives of many. However, the Darien Gap is also a place where adventurous individuals come to explore. These two contrasting situations in the wilderness have raised many questions about the migration crisis and the ethics of organizing adventure trips. Tourists are simply looking for a sense of adventure, but here, a starkly different scene exists. Migrants from Venezuela and Ecuador alongside their families navigate the jungle amid countless dangers to find America. The fast-flowing rivers can claim lives at any moment, the forest roads are bumpy and treacherous, the swamps are slippery, and there is always the risk of encountering groups of robbers. Some humanitarian aid organizations have criticized adventure tourism in the Darien Gap, arguing that these trips are inappropriate and downplay the severity of the migration crisis. Tourists and migrants rarely encounter each other on this journey, but if they do, it must be a strange juxtaposition of realities. Colombia is not only known for its beautiful landscapes and women, but also for being the birthplace of many notorious mercenaries. Colombian soldiers undergo rigorous training, but their lives after retirement are not guaranteed, often leading them to accept offers to work as mercenaries in various countries worldwide. According to officials and military experts, Colombia has become a popular choice for those looking for mercenaries. Nearly 60 years of civil war in this Central American nation have created a pool of well-trained soldiers. Many soldiers in counter-terrorism units can retire in their 40s with meager pensions and limited career opportunities. The USA is a significant customer for Colombian veterans, sending them to fight Iranian-backed Houthi forces in Yemen or to support forces in Panama, El Salvador, and Chile. Veterans from Latin America typically receive only a fraction of what American or British veterans do, yet their income is still 4 times higher than their pensions. Colombian soldiers with experience in counterinsurgency and urban terrorism, or who have received training in countries like the USA and Israel, are often targeted by recruiters. All Colombian men are required to serve at least 1 year in the Army or National Police Force, although some can pay for exemption if they attend college. Becoming a professional soldier is one of the few viable career options for people from humble backgrounds, especially in rural areas disproportionately affected by conflict. However, these soldiers often face low wages and dangerous work, far from their families, and are often criticized by human rights organizations. Number 4. Social instability. Colombia is considered one of the most unstable countries in the world, grappling with rampant drug issues and other societal evils. The country has long been plagued by violence and crime, particularly related to drug trafficking and organized crime. Organized criminal groups often incite violence, affecting security in many regions. The Colombian government faces significant challenges in managing these issues, leading to social protests, especially from those expressing anger at the economic situation. The gap between the rich and the poor, as well as disparities between urban and rural areas, contributes to social instability and heightens the likelihood of protests. Although Colombia has made efforts to resolve these issues and is gradually restoring stability, it still remains a challenging place to live long-term. Number 3. A country of many holidays. Colombia celebrates over 1,000 national holidays each year, averaging nearly 3 holidays every day. These holidays range from small celebrations honoring the god of agriculture to major festivals like the Coffee Harvest Festival, which has been a tradition for over a century. Starting on January 5th, the Coffee Harvest Festival is the largest national celebration in the country, embraced by people of all ages. During these festive days, Colombians of every ethnicity dress elegantly and take to the streets to sing and dance, mixing black and white powders and throwing them at passers-by before ending the day with a cleansing bath in the river. Another popular New Year's tradition involves burning an effigy known as Mr. Old Year. Families create a large figure filled with old, unwanted items symbolizing sad memories from the past year, which is then burned on New Year's Eve. This custom represents a desire to leave behind unpleasant events and welcome the new year with optimism. These festive days are considered the happiest time of the year for Colombians, who take this period very seriously. Number 2. Punctuality is flexible. Being late to an event or gathering is quite normal in Colombia. Colombians generally have a relaxed attitude towards time, and regardless of how punctual you are, you must respect their cultural habits. Being 15 to 20 minutes late is often not seen as tardy. In many Latin cultures, including Colombia, there is a more flexible view of time, meaning a slight delay can be acceptable, and there is usually not much pressure to be punctual. This leisurely lifestyle, combined with congested traffic and casual conversations with friends on the streets, leads locals to neither expect nor appreciate strict punctuality. Consequently, party hosts often consider it polite to start events later than the scheduled time, which has become an unwritten law in the country. Number 1. The secret to happiness. If you were to ask 100 Colombians if they are happy, you would likely receive 100 affirmative answers. Colombians are lovers of music and dance, believing that while money is necessary, it is not the most important aspect of life. A 2012 survey indicated that 87% of Colombians reported feeling very happy, while only 12% claimed to be unhappy. This has contributed to Colombia boasting a happiness index of 85%, significantly higher than the global average and double that of the US. Over the years, Colombia has consistently ranked among the happiest countries in the world. What contributes to this happiness? Many factors, including a rich cultural life filled with festivals, up to 1,000 each year, such as Carnival in Barranquilla, one of the largest folk culture festivals globally, and the colorful displays at the Feria de las Flores, Flower Festival. Colombia's diversity of ethnicities and cultures is respected and harmoniously coexists, enhancing the nation's cultural fabric. Music is ubiquitous, from train stations to the streets, creating an atmosphere filled with rhythm. The lively salsa dance, emblematic of Colombian culture, encourages connection and joy among its participants. While Colombia has faced its share of challenges, including violence, poverty, and corruption, the optimism and resilience of its people shine through. Colombians cherish family, friends, and fun, proving that despite hardships, they continue to embrace life and express gratitude for each day. Colombia is a country rich in historical treasures and vibrant cultures, creating a colorful and unique identity. Hopefully you have found this exploration of Colombia intriguing and encountered many new insights through this journey. Subscribe to the channel for more fascinating discoveries about the world's peculiarities. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you on your next adventure.